So for today's video, I wanted to go over some very good rare pieces of loot that is really going to take your build to that next level of real juicing, real cranking, and real destruction, right? Chaotic greatness. We're not going to be talking about like just overall like top 10 best meta weapons per se, because we've already done a video like that. For example, we all know that a bod with the torque stickies is just going to crank regardless. These are going to be pieces of gear that can really fine tune your already really good setup, and or other ways that you can look at in order to have your stuff crank and in turn do some very good juicing. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are some very specific legendary enhancements. Now, at the moment, we do not have a specific dedicated drop source to farm legendary enhancements, so you're kind of throwing a few prayers up to RNGesus whenever you're farming other bosses for other legendaries, other pieces of gear, that a good legendary enhancement that you may be looking for does drop. These are the ones that I want you to keep a lookout for if they do drop, because they might not be good for your current build that you're working on, but the potential laid within them will be able to bloom and blossom into an elegant, beautiful, destructive flower at your disposal. So let's talk about the most important one that I'm pretty sure everyone knows about, but has to be in a video like this: the duct tape COV enhancement, most commonly used and found on the Quicksilver legendary enhancement. The duct tape perk grants guaranteed crits to your COV weapons when overheating. And the reason why it's most commonly used on the Quicksilver is because the other perk on the Quicksilver is Smelter. Guns with COV magazines have a 35% fire rate when over 50% heat. So just with this Quicksilver enhancement alone, your COV weapons are going to be firing 35% faster and guaranteed critting. This is a very important special component of what makes the Golden God legendary shotgun that I glaze and love so much do what it's able to do. It is such a crucial part of any COV based weapon builds. If you're using a COV weapon, a Quicksilver legendary enhancement is going to work wonders for you. Let's keep it moving. The next legendary enhancement that I would like to talk about is for the good old Jakobs manufacturer. Oh yeah, we know Jakobs is packing. They got some good enhancements. We are talking about the Scattershot. So for any strong Jakobs build, especially with anyone revolving with a shotgun or multiple pellets, this is going to be an enhancement you want to look out for. Why? Because of the two perks it rolls with. The first one is Leaper. Guns with Jakobs parts gain 40% chance to ricochet non-critical hits. That is insane value. You are getting the ability to ricochet without even having to get the crit that is generally always required. 40% of the time you're critting regardless. And that's not even the best perk, because Sequencer is like a great value pearl of ineffable knowledge for my Borderlands 3 folks, okay? It reads as follows: guns with Jakobs parts grant consecutive critical hits a stacking 5% bonus damage for a max of 8 stacks. This is going to give you a 40% extra crit damage, bruh, on top of a 40% chance to ricochet non-critical hits, bruh. Do you see why this is so disgusting? Anywhere I am using a Jakobs weapon, especially a Jakobs shotgun, a Scattershot is being used. Anytime you see me with a Hellwalker or a Hot Slugger, a Scattershot is being used. I want that to be very clear. The Scattershot is absolutely disgusting, and I love it. Now I got two more enhancements for you. The next one is a Vladof legendary enhancement. Oh, we love our bullet hosing Vladof weapons. Yes, we do. And this one is going to be the Hero of Bullet. The Hero of Bullet has two absolute beautiful perks on it for your Vladof weapons. The first one is Bullet Hose. 30% chance to add extra projectile per shot. Yes, this affects any SMG that has a Torg sticky accessory part like the Chaosan. So sometimes, you know, the Chaosan always does 2 Torg stickies per pull of the trigger. With this, yes, you will have instances where you get 3 Torg stickies, just a free sticky added for free. You can see how that damage is very much so going to ramp up just with the Bullet Hose alone. Then you add in Box Mag, 20% fire rate and 20% mag size for free passively. What a winner chicken dinner moment that is. Anytime you see me using a Chaosan, a Wombo combo, a Bordy, any fast firing weapon, Whiskey Foxtrot. We have our hero of Bullet in the background, juicing any of our Vladov weapons. It is so darn good. Now, what's the last legendary enhancement I have for you guys? Well, this one might come as a surprise to you guys because it's a Tediore one. However, there's some pretty darn crazy shenanigans you can do with Tediore weapons in this game. And if you're going to do that, this legendary enhancement that I have still yet to get is called the Hydrator. The Hydrator has two very, very important perks on them to truly juice any Tediore Chuck focused builds. The first one obviously being Digidivider. 50% chance to add another projectile on reload. Okay, so if you're going to throw one Tediore reload, this will add a second one. Boom, you double your damage. If you're on Rafa, you throw on the Grinazerker class mod, boom, that's another one. So that's 3 when you normally would get 1. And then some weapons, sometimes they can roll with the Digidivider on their own, like as a passive. So they'll add another projectile. So now you have instances where you're throwing 4 Tediore reloading projectiles where you should only have 1. As you can see, that would really increase the damage. And then the other one, banger, I barely know her. 50% max loaded ammo when calcing throwing damage. If you did not know, the bigger magazine size you have on your Tediore weapon when you throw it, the higher damage, the more damage you're going to do and see. So on one enhancement, you have the ability to add another projectile and front load 50% of your max loaded ammo whenever you throw it, and calcing its thrown damage, just giving it a free juicy crazy increase. I know Tediore weapons generally get a bad rap and Tediore builds get a bad rap, but if you ever want to make a Tediore build, get a Hydrator. Just keep an eye out on it for the time being while you're farming other stuff and come back to it later. I'm telling you, you will thank yourself and me. Okay, so for this next portion of the video, I would like to go ahead and talk to you guys about my favorite pieces of firmware that I like to use in general play. Obviously, you know, for an ordnance build, you're gonna want, you know, 2 out of 3 into airstrike, maybe some into gadget ahoy, or maybe another set of firmware, but we'll get to that. And for other niche scenarios, there's firmware specifically designed for those setups and builds. But in general play, these are like the most like prevalent and thing that'll always be good, right? The first one, and one that I have sworn my oath to, is the Deadeye firmware. So for Deadeye, the 1 out of 3 set, I'll be honest, that bonus isn't really all that good. It's just gun accuracy. You can kind of toss that. But 2 out of 3, you get 25% bonus crit damage. Okay, thank you. And then the 3 out of 3 is really nutty. It grants a 15% damage buff per crit, and it stacks up to 5 times, giving you another 75% crit damage buff, and it gives you the 25%. And 2 out of 3, you can see how this gives you a 100% crit damage buff. And you know, if using a COV weapon like the Golden God with the duct tape enhancement that we talked about earlier in the video, you now have a weapon that is guaranteed critting, shooting 30% faster, oh, and doing 100% more crit damage, and then some. You see why I love the Golden God and why I swear by the Deadeye firmware, my man. Yes, you do. Okay, so that's your Deadeye firmware. In general play, it's just one of the best ones to go for. If you can get 3 out of 3, do it. But a amazing firmware bonus that you don't even need to get 3 into. You only need 2, so you can combine this with your any other, you know, 3 out of 3 firmware set that you may be rocking. You put these other 2 into this firmware, your build, your survivability is going to thank you. I'm talking about the Lifeblood firmware. I'll be honest, the first bonus is garbage. You only need 2, definitely not 1, because 2 out of 3 into the Lifeblood firmware is going to grant you a free passive 5% lifesteal. Our health bars are not that big inside of Borderlands 4. So even 5% of something that does 10,000 damage, and the way the lifesteal works in this game, it comes to you in like waves. It's not just like you deal 50,000 damage, you get 10,000 to your health. It's not quite that potent. It works in a almost overtime fashion. Still, getting this 2 out of 3 Lifeblood firmware is easily going to be enough survivability in a lot of builds and situations to keep you alive, to keep on cranking and juicing. Obviously, you know, there'll be situations where you get knocked into fight for your life, but it's not going to be a frequent occurrence. It's going to be a fluky occurrence. And honestly, bro, if you want to go just like uber super survivability, you go 2 out of 3 into Lifeblood firmware, and you get a Kill Spring legendary rep kit. And if you're wondering, yeah, man, a lot of the time in my videos, I am using 3 out of 3 into Deadeye And then my other 2 slots are 2 out of 3 into Lifeblood. I find that split to be a very valuable use of my firmware slots, as you only have 5 slots where you can put firmware on, and very more so often than not, that's the route that I go about dividing them: 3 out of 3 into Deadeye, and then 2 out of 3 into Lifeblood. But this is a little bit of an honorable mention, okay? Bullets to Spare, I'll be honest, I'm mainly using the 2 out of 3 bonus for any TD or Chuck build, right? Because it gives you 20% mag size. And as we just mentioned with the Hydrator portion of the video, the bigger your mag size is when you throw your TD, or the more damage it's going to do. This is another way to just increase that passively. But something really worth noting is that if you like to bullet hose, this really might be one of the main ones for you, because 3 out of 3 into Bullets to Spare is going to grant you fire rate increase by 50% of the gun magazine. So if you have a wombo combo and there's like 100 or so rounds in that mag, you're gonna increase the fire rate of it by 50% with this firmware. Is that not disgusting? Like, huh? Just a little tidbit there. Feel like Bullets to Spare might be a little bit of a slept on piece of firmware right now. So it gets mentioned in this video, along with my 2 personal favorite pieces of firmware: 2 out of 3 Lifeblood and 3 out of 3 Deadeye. Now, these last little bits is what I'm going to refer to as miscellaneouses, okay? These are just like little tidbits, something worth mentioning. I do have, for example, just the Jakobs Accessory in general. You get this to roll on a weapon, good. That's always going to be something you're happy to see. Just in general, the Jakobs Accessory is one of the best in the entire game. Trust me. Then I really feel like I gotta mention the Whiskey Foxtrot here with the Ripper Mag and the Jakobs Accessory, as this Ripper Mag on the Whiskey Foxtrot allows for it to bypass the burst fire mode, so you're just bullet hosing at just sheer ridiculous amounts of fire rate. So many bullets per second, it's so insane, and one of the funnest guns in the game. Another real awesome weapon inside of Borderlands 4. Oh, also, if you want to farm the Whiskey Foxtrot, Directive 0 is the boss, Terminus District of Dominion, the Iron Wall Resolve Order Bunker. Some nice little food for thought for you, but back to my point before my genius brain forgot to mention some more knowledge on you guys. What's something that we don't have in this game that we loved in Borderlands 3? The Maggie? Maggie's a Borderlands staple just in the franchise's history, but we have masher pistols. We don't really have masher pistols inside of Borderlands 4, or do we? Now, we don't have them necessarily like directly in the game, but there is one special and unique weapon that can get as close to a masher pistol in Borderlands 4 as we can get, and it is absolutely a disgustingly great weapon. We're talking about the 7th Sense with the Daedalus shotgun alternate ammo type. And the shotgun mode on this pistol converts it to a masher essentially, and it fries, especially those seekers. They recently caught a 250% buff. So when you reload, all those seekers home down on a target, and they do a lot of damage. Really, really good. The boss that drops this weapon is from a side quest, the Below the Surface side quest in the Dominion Terminus District, and the boss is the Corrupted Experiment 42 and Experiment 1709 if you would like to farm for this weapon. And then the last tidbit of just absolute peak loot worth noting is a Watts for Dinner legendary shield with the Siphon and Amp passive. Siphon gives it the overshield to give you the free bonus shot damage and allowing you to have it for way more uptime. And then obviously Amp gives you 100% gun damage on that Amp shot. If you can consistently get your shield to full, you're going to be having a lot of Amp shots. And the Watts for Dinner is just a really good shield. It drops from Origa, who also drops the Chaosin, which is the vault boss in the Terminus range. Absolute god tier giga shield. And with that being said, fellas, I would like to thank our channel members. If you'd like to be mentioned at the end of videos, all you gotta do is become a tier 1 member of the channel. Shout outs to the homie KJ42 and a tier 3 member of the channel. Very much so appreciate it, brother man. Hope you're having a good one out there in the world. You freaking rock. And shout out to the homie Pikachu, been a member for quite a good chunk of time now. Much love, my friends. Hope you all are doing well out there and being safe. And of course, to the viewer right now, appreciate you watching the video, homie. Y'all have a great day, and remember, tough times don't last, tough people do. Keep it real, homies. I'll see you on the next one. 07.